सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। हरि ओम मीनल।
हरि ओम।
Okay. So in the previous verses, we have been analyzing the different bodies, the different things that we take ourselves to be, where we commit a mistake, where we commit an error in terms of identification of oneself. We have been seeing these different things. So we started with gross body, and we will be going subtler and subtler as well, because this wrong self-identification is committed at various levels, and the comparison we are doing is with Pratyagatma. So Shastra presents ourselves to be Atma, which will come later. Atma was already introduced as to what it is. In those 7 questions, ko nama bandhah, katamesha agatah, katam pratishtasya, katam vimokshah, ko asau anatma, paramahaka atma, tayor vivekah katametad uchyatam. So the 6th question was, what is this Atma? So that Atma was already presented, and tayor vivekah katametad uchyatam. How do we differentiate between this Atma and Anatma? Please tell. So that was the 7th question. Basically, 7th question is being answered here. All the answers given now are basically with the 7th question. So Atma Vichara is all about understanding what is the difference between Atma and Anatma, to finally arrive at Atma, not at Anatma. So if you see science, any knowledge for that matter is science only. Science normally is seen more to understand the material sciences part of it, as to what is the basis of things. So creation, Jagat, when we see, it is matter. So we always would like to understand how this material came about, how this entire world of so many planets, space, everything, Panchabhuta, how did this come about? So scientists keep discussing, scientists keep inquiring, experimenting to really understand the various things that make up this world. So that is, that's what keeps happening. So in the entire scientific inquiry, what is happening is the observer is inquiring and analyzing the observed. In all the cases, a person who is observing, who is kind of making all this analytical calculations, simple observation, and when there is an observation, there is kind of some analysis going on. So that analytical abilities, whatever analysis is happening, it is all happening in the observer. And the observed can be anything for that matter. First time it can be acid, then within acid, then you have different molecules, then the molecules can become the subject, and after molecule Gyan has been obtained, then within those molecules you have elements, and those elemental analysis can be understood, and then when you go up to the element level, then you have to get into the atomic level. Then atom will be analyzed. Once you get into atomic level of inquiry, then you have to also understand what that is made of. That is made of particles. Once particle level analysis is understood, each particle also can be taken up for analysis for their guna. So as of now, we have gone up to particles, and some more details about particles, and like quarks and many other things as well, which also behave like particles. Different patterns in which these particles can exist. So observers have gone to this level. So this is more the microcosm part of it. Similarly, you have a set of people who would like to see the macrocosm. Just like the way you go deeper and deeper, here you go farther and farther. So here also almost you see the similar pattern. You see the world made up of so many things, and the way electrons keep moving, you also see planets keep moving around certain entities which have more gravitational force. So just like the way electrons orbit around the proton and neutron, even planets orbit around its own object of higher gravity. So in our system also, we have in solar system, sun commands the maximum gravity, and the planets, they go around sun. Again, when you analyze this, all that I am telling now is about how do we analyze something and what all someone can analyze about a given thing. One question can be as to why these planets keep coming around the sun, or why electrons keep going around the nucleus. So there are two reasons. One is basically there is a force which will make electron to escape the orbit. That is one force that is already available. But there is also an equal force by which this nucleus attracts the electron back to its orbit. So since these balancing forces are there, it stays in the orbit, and also it is able to stay because it is not at rest. And I am not sure if the motion is uniform, but then it is not at rest actually. So electrons keep orbiting. That's the reason we say it keeps orbiting. So that centrifugal force itself is a mechanism by which it is not attracted back to the nucleus. So that is one reason why it keeps rotating, or the other way, since it keeps rotating at that speed, it is not attracted towards the nucleus, and since the gravitational pull is also equally strong, it is not able to escape out of this nucleus as well. So this is why this happens. This is just an example to say how vichara can be done about things other than oneself. So in all these cases, whatever analysis is happening, it is happening about a thing other than oneself. So when we say other than oneself, we take this inquirer as of now, normally in the example what I have given, as a person, who's a scientist or whosoever examining this particular subject. And the common understanding is that this inquirer is within this skin, and we take him to be that person with all this karmendriya and jnanendriya. So jnanendriya are sense organs, karmendriyas are organs of actions. So we take this body to be that person, that complete person, and that person is inquiring. This is where science stops. Now, Shastra being what it is, and since Shastra has a better capability to see things, today we are seeing this war going on, where if a person has, if the side has a better radar skills, it can catch every signal of every object which is going around a particular area. So Shastra being that which can see everything, it knows everything. That's the reason it can give a clue about those areas where a person makes a mistake. So Shastra, that's how it is saying that, okay, you take this one observer to be with all this flesh and everything, and you are committing a mistake. You are thinking you are knowing about the secrets of world. One is that you are able to see only thing which is other than yourself. And now when it comes to your own understanding of who you are, First you take yourself to be this entire package, of which one of the main thing is this gross body. So whenever attendance happens, Bhaskar, yes ma'am, that happens clearly because of gross body identification. So we have an observer who's keeping on analyzing, keeping on doing something, surviving, eating, doing everything, and he's a package of 1, 2, 3 and 4. Shastra says this is made up of ideally 4 things. They are Shariratraya plus Atma. So that consciousness plus Atma. So basically they are made of 4 things. Now this person who is observing, if he mixes up everything and thinks the entire thing is himself as a package, there is a mistake committed there. So like yes, we may be wearing a shirt or pant or whatever attire, we can't take that to be ourselves as a part of our integral part just because it's very close to us. So it's an example. At the level of body, definitely this mistake is committed. Let's take the example of Karna. So Karna had, it is told to us that he had the Kavacha and Kundala when he was born. So these were his Abhushana when he was born. And I'm sure that would be quite possible as well. Recently, I was seeing certain videos on Facebook, some of the science related topics. There are so many species who have kind of a very rigid external structure, so like a shell, and they keep shedding this at given intervals, just like the way snake does. So they keep shedding this at intervals when they outgrow the size of that particular shell. It's really intriguing actually. I saw this with crab, and snake also does this. That we have, I think most of us have heard about snake, the way it does. You can exactly see the skin outside in the same structure as snake. And crab does this. I mean, snake, at least you can imagine it is just a straight thing. Maybe it's able to just escape, come out of the structure like a bag. You can understand. But crab is not so. Crab has a different kind of structure where it has legs as well, many things as well, something to hold on, many things it has. But that also, it just shrinks from inside, tries to come out of some kind of an opening, and it just leaves its external shell of the previous size just outside, and then it starts growing even further. So very surprising. If you see, the moment that structure is outside and this person has already come out of that, you can say that the other thing was also a part of this only earlier, just before that crab or that snake was owning that external shell to be itself. So when it was going for food, obviously it was going with all that shell only. But now that it is growing out, and it has a mechanism to leave that out and come out of it, and the next level would be kind of tender, and that will again become rigid over a period of time so that it can survive. So in this level itself, within gross body itself, you can shed it out. And in the case of human being also this happens, because our skin keeps shedding, if not like the way it does for snake and all these other creatures, it keeps shedding. We have dermis or epidermis, whatever you say, which keep dying and then they go out. So in this other case where exactly even the shape remains, it is just left out, and this jiva who comes out very clearly is objective to that thing. So snake, after leaving its skin, it has no attachment towards it. Perhaps I have not gone after it to understand if it does that way. I am sure it will have no attachment. It will just leave it and then go away. Though it was an integral part of itself, and it looks almost like a sack even after that actually. So this is an example where something which is a part of you, which otherwise you took yourself to be that thing as an integral part of yours, you are capable of shedding it. So in the case of Karna, Also, similar thing was there. He had a shell which was growing along with him. Maybe it was also shedding over a period of time. Could have happened. And he was having that. He could get rid of that. And it is also said in the same Kavya itself that in that history itself, that when Lord Krishna asked him to give away that shield, because he was invincible and no one could kill him until the time he had those things. So Lord Krishna asked him to give away his kavacha and kundala, both. So he had to cut it open and then give it to him. It's like, the way tortoise has its shell. So he had to cut it open and then give it. But he was still alive. So all this says that whatever we take ourselves to be as an integral part of us can be wrong, can be proven wrong. Because even in these cases, you can just you can leave away one part of maybe 1 centimeter of your outer surface, just throw it out, and it looks almost like you in terms of structure, in terms of the shape. It's possible. So like this, Shastra is identifying several layers of those things where this person, this observer, commits an error and mixes up his original identity with these things. So Karna's identity was Karna plus Kavacha Kundala. That is how Karna identified himself as. So I am using that extra identification because up to skin, it's very clear to us that no, we are that only. Now Shastra is going to say you are not that, and it will be very difficult also to come out of that wrong notion. So I am using an external layer additional to what we normally have to show that mistake is quite possible. So Shastra is identifying extra layers. So the first layer, what I was saying, which Shastra has not said, it is an extra layer to gross body itself. So just imagine if you are identifying yourself with one particular coat. Obviously, when you are growing, out of size, obviously you have to keep changing that coat, and you can't be stuck with the similar coat, the same coat which was there earlier, if you have that kind of an identity. Not possible. So Shastra is identifying those extra things where we mix up our original identification with them. So this is what is happening. So in the first stage, Shastra identified this entire gross body to be one place where we commit an error. So that was Annamaya. Now the next layer is taken. It will go subtler and subtler to show all layers where this observer commits a mistake. So the second layer taken is Pranamaya. And this 5 sheets, the way Shastra presents, to name them, they are Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. So Annamaya Kosha. Kosha means sheath. It is translated as sheath. It's a layer, you can say. So the Kosha is a place where an error is committed, on which an error is committed. So that's what Kosha is all about. If Karna thought that Kavacha was himself, he was committing a mistake, so that Kavacha becomes a Kosha. So that's what this means. So the second Kosha that is taken is Pranamaya. I'll just read this verse. Karmendriyehi panchabhiranchito ayam prano bhavet pranamayastu koshaha yenatmavan annamayo anupurnaha pravartate aso sakala kriyasu. So he is explaining what prana is. So prana is that which enlivens the body and it pervades this gross body. So gross body is that which is seen, and pranamaya is that which pervades this entire body, and this is endowed with 5 organs of actions. And prana means energy actually. So an energy is manifest and expressed through the organs of actions only. And this also definitely depends on the gross body for its existence as well. because finally food only converts into gross body, subtle body and causal body as well. Food is responsible for everything. So this is why Annamaya was presented first. This Pranamaya definitely is also dependent on Annamaya, but it has its own function. It has its own function because it behaves that way as though it has its own ability to be independent. So in every at every level, first an explanation will be given. An explanation is given for a person to understand what that thing is. Now Pranamaya is explained. So Pranamaya is that, I'm just reading verbatim from here. The prana endowed with the 5 organs of action forms this Pranamaya Kosha, a covering as if, that's what Kosha is all about, as if, for the Atma, pervaded by which this body becomes alive and engages in all activities. So this is what it is. Now, this has to be compared with Atma. So Atma was already identified earlier as that yah pashyati swayam nityam yam na pashyati kaschana, that which witnesses everything. Everything means Jagat and all these 3 bodies as well. That which witnesses everything. Yah pashyati. Pashyati means sees. Swayam, by itself. It doesn't require another binocular to see it, or microscope or telescope to see anything else other than itself. So, yah pashyati swayam nityam yam na pashyati kaschana. In turn, none of the other things can actually see this. Yah chetayati buddhyadi na tadyam chetayatyayam. So this enlivens buddhi and all the other things, all bodies, all prana. This is the one which enlivens everything else, and the reverse is not possible. So that is the nature of Atma. Atma was presented as an independent thing which is self-effulgent, and it need not be revealed by anything else. It is self-revealed. This is how it was presented. We don't need binocular, we don't need microscope, we don't need any other lens, we don't need even sense organs to objectify Atma. It is just oneself. Sense organs are all upadhis. Upadhi is a word, okay? They are all sheets, you can call it, koshas on Atma, and it is mistaken. These are all mistaken to be Atma, but they are not Atma. Atma is that which does not require anything else to be revealing Atma. It is just self-revealing. In fact, Atma reveals everything else. So this is where that observer point as an example has to be kept in mind. When we are the observer, we are trying to become the ultimate observer, and Atma is presented as the ultimate observer. Yah pashyati swayam nityam. So this witnesses swayam. Swayam is very important, by itself, without the help of any other tool other than oneself. Yah pashyati swayam nityam. Nityam is all the time. Normally a scientist, okay, if he is observing something, he will be observing probably for continuous 10 hours, 12 hours. I'm sure he will also take a bio break. And even if Madame Curie was experimenting for days together on that radium stuff, I'm sure there were breaks. And even if we assume that there was no bio break taken even for food or whatever, it would not have been more than 3 months or 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. So this nityam is very important. This Atma, what we are talking about, is the only witness. He is the witnesser of everything other than himself. And this witnessing is not an activity he does for a moment or for a given length of time. Witnessing is his nature. Yah pashyati swayam nityam yam na pashyati kaschana. It is not like other time you will close the eyes and then open the eyes, keep witnessing, close the eyes. It is not like that actually. This witnessing is its nature. By its nature, it witnesses everything. The very cognition, the word cognition or a concept of cognition is this Atma. And that is the reason in those words Sat, Chit, Ananda, These are the closest words that explain consciousness, Atma. Right? The second word is very, very important. That's what denotes this ability to cognize. Chit. Chit is consciousness. So this Atma is the only thing that is conscious of anything else other than itself. And you cannot bring in another consciousness to understand this consciousness. So this is where Shastra makes it very clear. Yah pashyati swayam nityam. This sees everything, sees, cognizes. Normally when we say see, we always think it is through eyes. In English itself, we have a good usage of this word see. So when we say I see, it means that I understand what someone is saying. So it's more subtler. If someone is telling me a concept or someone is correcting my understanding, then I happen to say I see. So when I say I see, it is not that I am talking about the seeing through eyes. It is seeing in terms of understanding. So there itself it is so subtle. So you can imagine this pashyati, yah pashyati swayam nityam. This pashyati is much more subtler than that I see. Because this pashyati is seeing is my only job. It means that actually. Because swayam. Not only swayam, that's for my actually. Swayam nityam. All the time it does just keep observing. That's the nature. So chit is very, very important of this three words Sat, Chit, Ananda. So this chit only is connecting to the observer. So as an observer, we have been always experimenting on Jagat to understand various aspects of Jagat. And Shastra says, hey observer, you have done enough research on everything other than you, basically about Jagat. Yes. Now come back to yourself, analyze who you are and what you take yourself to be. And it is saying you are committing mistake at 1, 2, 3, 4 levels, 1, 2, 3 levels, or 5 we can say in terms of this Pancha Kosha. So you are committing mistake at these levels, and I will explain you why you are not this first level. You in the sense Atma. You are that Atma, but you are that self, and you mistake yourself to be one of these 5 at a given point in time. So first you take the first thing to be yourself, and I am saying it is not, because gross body comes and goes. Size is also all the time different. How can you keep, how can you even entertain this notion that you are this gross body? This is what was said in the previous verse. Now the second layer is taken, where it says this prana is that which enlivens this body, and it helps all these organs of action to work. So it is something which is made of certain things. How can that be this self, Pratyagatma, which is not made of any components? Because anything that is made of components has to disintegrate. Because anything made of components was brought about by a change. If anything is brought about by a change, any further change can disintegrate it. So then its existence, its continuous or its eternal existence is challenged. And Shastra presents oneself to be the Pratyagatma which always exists. So Shastra is making this explanation, and it is saying this: Naivatma api pranamayo vayu vikaraha ganta aganta vayuvadantar bahireshah yasmat kinchit kvapi navetti ishtam anishtam swam va anyam va kinchana nityam paratantraha. So for a person to be shown as that ultimate Vastu, some of the ingredients have to be retained. So, self is presented as the ultimate cognizer. Now, when you take this prana, what it does is, it goes inside and outside. Ganta aganta vayuvat antarbahireshah. It goes inside and outside like air. It is basically air only. Vayuvad antar. Just like the way air behaves, Prana behaves the same way. Bahiresha, it comes and goes outside. It is just keeping on coming and going. And Atma is everywhere, so there is no concept of coming and going. So that differentiates this from Atma. And Yasmat Kinchit Kvapinaveti Shishtam Anishtam. So this is not a Chetana Vastu, this is Jada. Jada is that which cannot basically think. So this prana cannot think actually. It doesn't even understand which one is ours, which one is outside's. No, which one is me and others. It doesn't understand that actually. For example, Karna's Kavacha would not respond to Krishna when Krishna asked for his Kavacha. It will be that mind, Manomaya, which will be responding to Krishna saying, okay, it will be deciding whether I should give it away or not give it away will be Manomaya. That will come later. But Pranamaya, maximum it can help him to use his organs of action to take the knife, cut it away and give it. This is where Prana helps. But Prana cannot help him to decide and say that, oh boss, you are being tricked. If you give this away, you will lose your strength and you can be vulnerable. You will be vulnerable. This Prana cannot say. Prana can help you once the decision is made for action. So this is only helping those organs of action, not the one which can sense. So this being the nature of prana, which can't even sense as oneself and others benefits of benefits of doing certain thing or not. So that's what is said here actually. Ishtam anishtam, something which is preferable for this unit which we take ourselves to be, and less preferred. It cannot make such decisions at all because it is jada. Just like tortoise outer shell, the shell itself cannot do anything. So that being the case, it is compared with Atma's capability. Atma's capability is to be everywhere, but this keeps going and coming, which means it is limited. And Atma is that which cognizes everything. So cognition of everything includes every inquiry, every understanding. So it has the sense of understanding. So this pranamaya does not fulfill that criteria also. Doesn't have any understanding. It is jada. So this being its state, it cannot definitely have the status of Atma, who is the witness all the time of everything. So this is what these two lines achieves by pointing out one more layer where this observer commits a mistake of taking himself to be in the total package of things. This observer has been always thinking, okay, he doesn't basically understand it is his uninhibited self plus everything else, that's what is running. That's where Shastra is pointing out. Normally when we do vichara, or even when we do not do any vichara, normal understanding is that this gross body with whatever ability is there inside is what is oneself. So Shastra has to talk about the places where mistake is committed. Okay. And Shastra has to start saying that, boss, you are that Atma. So that's where the first understanding is okay. And Atma is what? That which sees everything and which cannot be in turn seen by anything else. So this is presented already this way. So it brings that factor, X factor in picture. So then you have to always keep comparing. First time it is understood, it is introducing it. So you have to understand that one is that limitless self, and as an observer we always take ourselves to be that X, though we do not know that that X exists actually. So it comes only from because of Shastra's guidance we understand, oh, we are that ultimate thing plus ABC. So if it is ABC, if it is Shariratraya model, ABC, gross body, subtle body, causal body. If it is Panchakosha model, the same thing split into 5, little bit more subtler for understanding. It will be like Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. X, that oneself, plus all this. So the observer takes himself to be X plus everything. And Shastra is only trying to say that boss, these A, B, C, D, E, they keep changing. And they are seen as tools, Karana, and the tool cannot become the master. Master is that person who employs the tool for a given activity. So, how much ever a carpenter may like his tool. Example, let us take hammer. So he loves that because for whatever reason, it gives the right energy to make either a sculpture or make a kind of nice furniture. How much ever he may be loving that. Even he may be doing the puja during this Ayudha puja time and all. But he cannot become that. He is different from that. Similarly, this observer who was observing Jagat to understand what Jagat is, he is taking himself to be a package of X plus 3 model or X plus 5 model, depending on which model one uses, and then looks anything outside of that only as outside of him. He takes this X plus 5 as a package. I am this, very clear. If there is an injury, I will definitely go to a doctor or pick up some ointment which I have, I will apply. Gross body is me, there is no doubt about it. So this is the understanding. That understanding Shastra is challenging, saying, boss, these 5 or these 3, they are your Karanas. It's like a hammer, chisel, this. And you embroil yourself into this and take these things to be, you are committing a mistake, and I can explain you logically as to why it is a mistake. This is what is happening. And first we saw why this Atma cannot be gross body, why this gross body doesn't befit to be this Atma. Na arhati. It doesn't befit to be this Atma. Similarly, this Pranamaya is taken. This is ABCDE model 5. Pranamaya is taken and it is dispelled, saying, no, this being such a limited thing, how can you even compare this to that ultimate Atma? No way. No way. Just shed that second layer also from your identity. Just leave it away. This is what Shastra is saying. And same thing will continue further also. So, we saw Annamaya, then we saw Pranamaya, third one is Manomaya. So, Manomaya comes next actually, which is verse 51. We can continue to Manomaya also because the technique is the same. Manomaya will be explained as to what is Manaha, but as we go subtler, that makes even more sense because that's where the identification becomes much more stronger. So when we, for example, when someone has thorn in one's feet, we have different layers of skin, right? Normally, you will have to use a needle to remove this thorn which has gone inside. So if it is very superfluous, you can just remove it and then it's thrown away, gone. But if a piece is inside, now it depends how deep it is settled. If it is little bit on the outside, more on towards the periphery, you take a needle and you can just remove the skin around that, and if you can take it out through a forceps or whatever, a small forceps, you can do that. But if it is little deeper, now the needle has to go a little deeper. That's where things will start paining actually. So as you go deeper, in this case also, in Panchakosha, Annamaya is easy to understand, saying, oh boss, I'm not this. Just like the way you say tortoise. It's possible that, leave the shell out, you can grow another shell. But your existence is not questioned. You can still exist. Leave away, you shed out one thing, second time you will again grow a bigger, larger shell. So definitely it's possible. However, as you go inside and inside, then their pain will be there. Because even in our daily experience, we do not take out these covers like, the way we just remove the cloth and then you will hang it there. It doesn't happen that way. Some place it is little integrated where the confusion is much more complex. So as we go subtler, we will ourselves doubt saying, is Shastra saying the right thing? To that extent we will doubt. Because Shastra will say, this is mind and this is how it works, you are not this mind. And mind onwards, we will have a problem. We will have a problem in the sense, we will find challenges in terms of assimilating that. And even if it is acceptable logically, mind being what it is, it will keep creating doubt and it would give the sense that I do not want to accept this. So the trick is very important here, one has to understand. When you call in, when you examine a person and this person is an accused. Now, the person who's investigating has to call him and his job is to make him accept that crime. And in that process, what's going to happen if that crime is something where it befits a capital punishment? So you can understand what will be the mental frame of that gentleman who's being questioned. It's a question of his existence. So any question that is asked by this examiner, whosoever is investigating, the other person will not give away the right answer, because by giving away the right answer, someone can get the right evidence as per law and this person can be given capital punishment. So the mental state of mind, basically the state of mind of that particular person has to be kept in mind. Same thing is applicable in self-inquiry. Now since we are going subtler, I thought I will introduce this concept. Now the next one to be taken up is Manomaya. Manomaya onwards it will become tricky, because now when you invoke Manomaya, first you have to say what is this Manas. And this entire inquiry, attending this class, listening, is all happening at the level of mind. You use gross body, but the one who's being addressed is the mind. Now things will become tricky. You are trying to say that person who takes himself to be whosoever he is, this is where the ego part comes in, and you are challenging that understanding. He is very clear, boss, I am this. To the extent of gross body, he can still say that, okay, yes, I myself wear a wig sometimes, I don't wear a wig sometimes. I identify with both these situations. So if wig can be removed, also perhaps some scalp also can be removed, I will still be myself. So we can say, fine, gross body shedding away, gross body identification shedding away is possible to some extent. At least we are objective to the extent of hair, maybe sometimes not, and nails, we just cut it away, throw them away. It doesn't. They do not question or they do not challenge our existence. So we can just get rid of them. So to that extent, body can still understand, mind can still understand that yes, the gross body, yeah, that's okay, maybe. But next, when you go to prana, also it is able to do. But the third one is mana. Now it is very tricky. This is the case where you are calling mind. Mind is on the chair of the culprit side actually. This examiner now has to ask questions and make it realize that, boss, you don't exist. So things will get trickier now. So that one has to understand. And there is one statement, I do not know where this statement comes from, Purana or Upanishads or wherever. I can check where it comes from, but I know this. Manayeva manushyanam karanam bandha moksha yoho. It's an amazing statement. Mind alone is the single factor responsible for liberation as much as it is the cause for bondage. So one cannot disregard mind altogether in this pursuit. Mind is the one which is basically available for the pursuit, Ideally, it should be available. That's why adhikaratva is given. It should be available for the pursuit. And mind's existence or one's wrong identification with the mind itself is presented. And mind has to come to this class to understand that it is a sheath. So this is where the tricky point is actually. So the observer thinks he is X plus those 5 layers. Shastra says, boss, the last most layer, you are not that. Happily understood. Last but one also not. Yes, understood. Now the third one is Manomaya. There, this person becomes a little, the inquirer so called, becomes a little shaky. Oh, is this not me? To even understand this is not me, that same person has to be there. That mind has to be there for this pursuit. And after mind understands, it doesn't befit to be that X, which is the original thing. It has to also shed out the understanding of X, misunderstanding or misidentification of X with the 4th layer and the 5th layer, subsequent layers. But already in the 3rd layer, it is mind. This is where it gets tricky. And we can see that, okay, I want to present that. So, Maneva Manushyanam Karanam Bandha Moksha Yoho. This statement, keep it in mind. There are certain statements which are like Mahavakya. I would consider this as Mahavakya itself. So, one cannot disregard mind just because it is presented as a thing other than oneself. It is impermanent, it is made of food. But we can't treat it as a bad thing because mind is as much the cause for liberation as much it is also the cause for bondage. This one has to understand. Keeping mind intact, this pursuit works. The Chitta Shuddhi, when we call it, it's all for mind only. And Chitta Shuddhi has to happen for this mind only through all those prayers or sadhana chatushtaya which was mentioned for gaining adhikaratva. This adhikaratva is meant for this mind only. And this guy is prepared very nicely for being cut later. This mind was told that was come pure, prepare yourself, come with the best of your mind and abilities for this, to this class. Okay. So what is being said here? You are the main culprit and you actually superimpose the real thing on all these false layers and go about transacting in this world with this wrong identification. This is where problems come. The moment you understand yourself to be anitya, but there is this X which is more important, and switch over this understanding, until then this problem will continue. This is what is said in Shastra. So this is where the tricky part will happen, but one has to be very clear about it, that mind only has to be kept there, available for the pursuit. Self-realization is mind unrealization. This also you can remember. All that we need to do in terms of activity is to remove this ignorance located in mind. Self is already available as that which sees everything all the time. Thankfully, we do not need to create self. If that was the case, we should just forget it actually. We don't need to create this ultimate. That ultimate is available. It is only shrouded with these confusions. Shastra has to only remove the confusion. If you are thinking that, you are with all this shit and then Shastra only has to say, but just remove this, you are already there. The last part, that X, which is basically the first part as well, need not be created by Shastra. Since a person is already available as X plus ABCDE, Shastra is only giving this Gyan saying, boss, there is something called X which is permanent. And you have all these ABCDE, from E onwards it comes. It need not create X. X is available. And that's what is going to happen. That observer over a period, guided by Shastra, is going to give away the wrong identification of himself, which is X, with A, B, C, D, E. Starting from E, it is coming back. This is what is happening. And when it comes to mind, one has to be very clear, mindful, that mind is the one which is actually pursuing everything in terms of self-knowledge also. Why so? Because mind is the one which has this ignorance. So, you go to a place, you have virus in the body, you go to a place for remedy, whatever medicine is given, get rid of the virus, you are intact. Similarly, here X is already intact, A, B, C, D, E are superimposed on this and it gains a wrong identification up to the level of E. And then anything outside of E is seen as Jagat. But this person is very sure that I am up to E. Now Shastra comes as a witness, as a neutral umpire who's been always there. It comes and saying, boss, I have seen you, getting created. It was X plus A, B, C, D, E. So I can very clearly tell you E is this, D is this, C is this, B is this, A is this. And how do you even compare yourself to all these things? Just be as X. That's what you are. This is what Shastra is trying to say. And that would be taken up in the next session. I'll open up the forum for questions. Because it's getting so more subtler, I do not want to rush away. Any question is fine. Should I go further if people don't have a problem?
Yes, I think we can finish the verse 51, that will finish the Manomaya portion.
Manomaya? Okay, fine. We'll finish Manomaya. Okay. So Manomaya, we still have another 17 minutes, right? Okay. So Manomayo na api bhavet paratma hi adyantakatvat parinami bhavat dukkhatmahatvat vishayatva hetoh drashtahi drishyatmataya na drashtah. So it's saying Manomaya also cannot be the Pratyagatma, can never be this Atma because it has a beginning and end. Atma is presented as that which always exists. Nitya Vastu. Where we saw this? When we saw Viveka. So this was presented. Viveka is, in Tattva Bodha it's more easily also given. Nitya Vastu Ekam. It is only one. Brahma is the name given. So Atma, Brahma, it is all the same. Finally, it will be coming as Aikya. Tad Vyatiriktam, other than that, Sarvam Anityam. This was the understanding we had. So that Vastu which always exists is what we are pursuing. So Atma is also presented as that Vastu which always exists. So we are all comparing every other stage of body where we commit a mistake to the original status of Atma. So original state of Atma is, it never changes, it always exists. But Manomaya is that which has a beginning and an end. Because when birth happens, along with gross body only, mind also gets formed as far as this birth is concerned. That's the reason it has a beginning and an end. And it also keeps changing. It undergoes changes. So that's the reason a person can change himself through counseling. So this Manomaya is subject to changes. If the change was not possible, no counseling would work otherwise. Okay, and it has a beginning and end, and has sorrow. It has it as its very nature, and is an object of perception. Why sorrow is said to be its nature is because more often than not, mind ends up facing and being sorrowful because it keeps looking for happiness through external objects or situations. It gets moments of joy. At the same time, when those moments of joy are not presented, not continued, it suddenly feels that it has a void and it will get into dukkha. Very often the sukha dukkha, they keep happening continuously. More often than not, dukkha is predominant. So that's why it is said it is dukkhatmaka. The subject is never seen to be in the form of object. Okay. One can objectify mind. So if someone says that yes, we have mind, thankfully we say that yes, I have a mind. And if I am the possessor of mind, I witnessed mind to be a karana with me, definitely I cannot be the mind. So, since it is available as a tool to me, I cannot be the tool. So, definitely this manomaya cannot be this pratyagatma. So, that is how it is presented. So, from now on, this inquiry will get much more subtler. From mind onwards, when it starts, it's going to be very, very subtler. And I would suggest to everyone that go through the initial verses cumulatively until this place and assimilate whatever is there. And it would help if you ask doubts, clarify them right at this point. Before we proceed further. So in the next class and subsequent classes also, keep reading from 1 to this 47th verse or 48th verse, and wherever you have doubt, get them clarified. Because if you have doubt in any of the earlier ones, if the concept is not assimilated, the further ones will not occur and it won't be very effective. So you have to be having clarity about the initial concepts, and one cannot skip sadhana chatushtaya. Unless this, as I told you, this mind is brought in here to tell it that boss, you are the culprit, you have that ignorance, shed it away. So that's what is happening. So mind being what it is, it will give you so many reasons to not accept what is fact. Because its own existence is questioned. That's the reason. So please keep revisiting the verses, note down the doubts and get them clarified. In Atma Vichara, one cannot have any residual doubt at all. Atma Jnana is that which is minus any doubt whatsoever. That's what Atma Jnana is. And if one has to proceed towards that, that's what our objective is. Moksha is our objective. So, one cannot entertain doubt and retain them at all. So this, please take it as a suggestion. And sadhana chatushtaya cannot be skipped. Whatever is in sadhana chatushtaya, keep practicing. Only then this mind will come with shraddha, without inhibition, without being afraid of the pursuit. Only then the pursuit will be fruitful. So with that, we can finish the session today. We will chant the mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Hari Om. We will connect in the next class. Have a nice day, all of you.
Hari Om, sir.